Hi, my name is Jesse Tashner, and this is how I become Nehemiah. Let's start out when I was a kid. I was probably 11, 12 years old. My mom and dad separated for a while, and that's about the end of us going to church. We were a church family from the day I was born up until that time. My dad fooled around on my mom, moved out, and kind of got away from God. I've known Jesus Christ my whole life. Just hasn't been a real good relationship because of that moment. I would say when I was 13, 14 years old, I did my first drug, and that was marijuana. Everybody says that's a gateway drug. Yeah, you can say that for some people. A lot of people, it's alcohol. If I was to drink alcohol, I'd always want harder stuff. So in my teenage years, I drink a lot of alcohol with my friends. We smoked some weed. And when I was 17, 18 years old, I did my first line of coke. After that, I've probably spent 3 years doing that. Then it went to harder drugs like smoking crack. I did that for a lot of years. I would say in 2000, I think it was 2012 is when I first went to a rehab. You know, it's one of them 30-day stays, keep you clean for 30 days. It was in the state of South Carolina. The state paid for it. Let's see. To get to where I'm at now, I did a lot of drugs. Like I said, I smoked crack up until 2017. That's when I got onto meth. I'd done meth for probably 4 years. Tried to get off of it. I couldn't do it. I tried and tried and tried, just could not do it. I've worked my whole life, so drugs wasn't really a problem for me of working, but it was a problem later on. In 2021, I moved to the state of Texas to help my sister. Main reason was to get off drugs. I did that for about a month, and of course I wanted more drugs, so I went back to South Carolina. Drove over 1,200 miles to get it because I'm not that type of person to go off the street and ask people for drugs. So it was really hard to get out of it. I moved here in 21, like I said, July 21. And I think I was in Texas for about 4 or 5 months. I went back to get some more of my stuff to move here. And on the way back, I had I think it was a little less than an 8-ball of meth and a bag of weed. I went through a town called Canton in Van Zandt County right here in Texas, and I was trying to stop to get me a line. I went up to a stoplight. Stupid me, I was just trying to get to where I can get so I can do a line. Wasn't looking at the traffic light. I got pulled over for impeding traffic. When the officer walked up to the car, he went to the passenger side window. I had a bag of weed in my duffel bag. He smelled that, so, let's get me out of the car, search the car. Well, as I was watching him pull me over, I just threw it in the dash. Didn't think nothing of it because I wasn't really paying attention about my weed. He pulled me out, searched the car. Of course, found it. I'm sorry, I lied. It was a little over a gram. I think it was like 1.25 grams. They charged me for a felony. Anything over a gram is a felony here in the state of Texas. And they charged me with what was it? It was a little over a gram, but it was I think it's 1 to 3 grams they charged me with, and I could have spent 3 years in prison, but It was the first time I ever got busted with any kind of drugs. So they put me on a 3 years of probation. And that was, like I said, that was in February or March of 2022. I got in a fight with my sister because I was still on the drugs. No one knew my drug addiction until they found out I got busted. Then every day is, it's a problem. They don't want me around because I'm on drugs, which I didn't understand it at the time because I didn't hurt no one. I didn't do anything to draw attention to me. I didn't steal. I didn't rip people off. I didn't take from stores, didn't take from people. I just worked and did my drugs. It was okay all the way up until that time. I moved here to Fort Worth, like I said, in July 21 to help my sister out. I did that for about 9 months. We got in a fight. So I moved out of her house. My mom lived in South Texas, a town called Goliad. I went down there, transferred my probation down there, was doing good. I did DoorDash for a living, and that's how I made my money. You're doing meth, you can do anything. You feel like you can do anything. You're up all night, so hours didn't matter. And that was, July of 2022, my mother died. I was living with her at the time. I had to move out, and the only place I could go at the time was with my other sister. She lived in Houston in a motel room. I went there, did my DoorDash, and lived in a motel room, me and my dog. And to go back a little bit, how I know God was in my life was there was a lot of roadblocks. I could have got busted several times with the same either marijuana or meth in my car. For some reason, they never found it. After my mom died, like I said, I moved to Houston. It was actually South Houston. It's called Rosenberg. I stayed in a motel for July, August, September, October, November, for about 4 or 5 months. I had to go back to Goliad to get some stuff from my mom's house. I had all my mail go there. I had my license going there, my debit cards. I lost everything. Someone stole my wallet while I was door dashing, so I had to go back to Goliad to get my debit cards and my driver's license. Well, when I was in Goliad, I was staying at some friend's house that I knew from when I was living with my mom. It was actually her friend and her son that I was staying with for a couple of days. And another guy that was there asked me if I wanted to do meth, and I was like, okay, let's do it. Went to his house. We did probably a little over an 8 ball, smoked it, snorted it. Never put a needle in my body. That's the one thing I can say I'd never done. It was probably 3 days after that guy asked me if I wanted to do meth. We were up for 3 days. He started having convulsions. He's having seizures on the floor. So, me, I'm calling 911. And, like I said, I'm in a little town called Goliad, and these people are just weird. And I called 911. I'm asking, what can I do? And they're telling me that they don't know what to do. The ambulance that would come there would know what to do. And to me, that just sounds stupid because they're 911. Well, anyways, the ambulance came, and right behind the ambulance, they had cops. Well, they came in. I was freaking out because I thought this guy was dying on me. they asked what I was doing, what we were doing. I told them I was doing meth. And they says, do you still have some with you? We need to know if it's got fentanyl in it and all that. And I goes, yes. Stupid me, I was whacked out. Stupid me, showed them where it was at, and I got thrown in jail for a little less than a gram. It was a misdemeanor. But like I said, I've been on probation. To go back a little bit, I did get dirty on one piss test through the probation. And they, I was supposed to do some classes and stuff like that, and I just ignored it because I was in South Houston, in Rosenberg, doing my thing with DoorDash. Anyways, I was in jail in Goliad, and they asked me, what will it take for you to get off the drugs? I said, I need help. At the time, I had a dog with me, and she was with me for 13 years. I did not want to leave my dog, so going to a rehab was totally out of the question. Week and a half after I was in jail, a guy that was in jail with me knew the person I was partying with. I asked him, will you go check on my dog? He went and checked on my dog, and my dog died. And that really hurt me, because she was the last thing for me in that lifetime. She's been with me for a lot of years. After I found out my dog died, my court appointed attorney says I can get you in a rehab for 30 days. And I told him I cannot do that. If I was to go to rehab, it had to be more. I can't do 30 days because the only thing that's going to do is build up your tolerance to get high some more. And I don't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. That's the reason why I moved to Texas, to get away from it. He called a man named Red. I can't remember his last name. He's out of Beeville, right next to Goliad. He was the person that told me about the men of Nehemiah. He asked me, would you like to go? I asked him a bunch of questions. How is it? What's it about? He told me it was a faith-based program for 9 months. And I needed that, so I said yes. He's setting up an interview with Major Elijah. I talked to him over Skype, and it went good. They accepted me. Elijah came down to Goliad to pick me and 2 other guys up, and drove us back to Abilene. I believe it was December 15th when I got here. I was broken. I was a broke down old man. At the time, I was 49 years old when I got here. When I walked in the door, at the time it was First Sergeant Dukes. One thing he told me, he goes, this is a faith-based program, but we do military physical training. About 5 o'clock in the morning, I think we woke up at 4:45. It's tough, I know. Like I said, I was broke when I got here. At the time when I got here, I can't exactly remember what we're doing, but it was sometime in January when we got to go to Ocean's Behavioral place. It's a mental health place. We went to classes in their outpatient. I could not, at the time, I could not be in a room with more than 3 people, or I would just start going. They call it PTSD or what PTSD. At the time, I could not stand in a room, so I was getting kicked out a lot. And my counselor, Abby, she was real kind with me. She would send me to her boss at the time, which was Wendy. I used to talk to her a lot while they would do the classes because their classroom was smaller than this office. So when you got 8 or 9 guys in there, either the door was open or I wasn't in the room. I would say, I think it was 2 months after we started Oceans, I had a breakdown because at the time, we went to Grace Church over there off of North 10th and Cypress. That's where our classes were for Nehemiah, and that's where we'd go for Big Country and stuff like that. Colonel Lee at the time wanted us to write a bunch of stuff down and burn it. It was for like a baptism or burn list. And we were getting baptized at the time at Beltway South. That really, because the stuff I had to write down brought back a lot of memories. I broke down for like 3 hours. I was just crying. I didn't want no one around me. I was sitting out back. They told me I had to come in. I told them I didn't want to. And the next day we went to class at Oceans, and I admitted myself to the inpatient. Spent admitted myself into Oceans. I spent 8 days there. To go back a little bit, I used to be on, I'm a bipolar. They call it bipolar 2. I'm not a manic depressant, but I'm a depressant. And I was taking bipolar medication. It was called Seroquel. I could not get it until I admitted myself into the inpatient program. Spent 8 days there, got on my Seroquel, and I took trazodone to sleep. Got out of there, and there was probably, I ain't gonna go through every one, there was probably 4 or 5 times that either I was wanting to leave or I got kicked out for being stupid. Like I said, at the time it was a 9-month program, but it was like 2 weeks. No, it was 2 months after we got here. A guy kind of messed that up, so it went from 9 months to a year-long program. You got your phases. You got your yellow phase, or red phase, yellow phase, and green phase. Phase 1, 2, and 3, and then you got transition. Oceans helped me out a lot with my medications. At the time, I was taking PTSD medication, but I can't remember what that stuff was. I only done it for a little bit. When I got into red phase is service phase. We pretty much do service work all over the city of Abilene, even Sweetwater sometimes, even outside the city. At the time I got into red phase, Colonel Lee came up to me and asked me if I would like to stay with Oceans for 6 more weeks. And I told him yes, because it was helping me out a lot. So I stayed while everybody else was doing service work. I stayed and went with the red phase back to Oceans. You know, I would do some service work, but not all of what the guys were doing. And after the 6 weeks, I graduated from Oceans and I started doing service work, and I felt great. You know how it is. You get out there and work, if you feel a lot better. You know, your mind's clear, your body's jumping. God was working in my life. To sum it all up, He got me here to Nehemiah Abilene. As I said, I was in yellow phase, and when I got to green phase, we get jobs. Well, I worked for the ministry, making minimum wage, to help the ministry out. And after my green phase, after the 9 months, Colonel Lee got me a job with Exchange Chimney Care, which I was grateful because they are a kingdom company. So I got that support there with the support of Nehemiah. I'm 53 now. I still work for Shane's Chimney Care. I've been there for 3 years. Nehemiah is a good program because God is doing something here. I can't really tell you what it is, but I know he's doing something good here.
Can you think of a moment in the program when you really felt the Lord changing you or doing something in your heart?
That was actually after I got baptized at Beltway South. The person that baptized me, I can't remember, it's Jacob. Can't remember his last name, but his name is Jacob. He's the one that dunked me in. And it was probably a week after that, he looked in my eyes and says, "You have Jesus Christ in you." And that right there was the most powerful thing I ever heard in my life. And I felt it from my head to my toes, tingling all the way. I talk to God every day now. I might not say I have a conversation, but as talking, help me, Lord. Help me in everything I do for you. Anything I do for you, Lord. And He has put me in a place that I can never get on my own. This is all a God thing. And being here at Nehemiah Abilene was the most perfect thing that I've done in my life. I've done a lot of things in my life, never graduated from anything until I came here. And that is all God. That's not me. Everything I do now is all God because I am flesh. God's not. God's Spirit's in me. I feel it. And I am so grateful that I came here to find God. My name is Jesse Tashner, and I am Gabriel Newman.